What is going on, folks? We are back for round 5 of the NTT Data Indycar Series in 2026. We are a couple of weeks off after the Alabama Grand Prix at Barber Motorsports Park, and it was a cracking race, but we are back for Long Beach in California, and this is a great street racing course. A lot of drivers love this. A lot of drivers want to win this race. But again, it's not as easy. So we'll have to figure out as to why that's the case and also go deep into what's going to happen. Special liveries, predicting the podium, the Ripper driver of the weekend, the Ripper team of the weekend, the shocking driver of the weekend, and the shocker team of the weekend. Plus, it'll just be nice for us to connect after so long. These breaks are so long. Honestly, IndyCar 2 weeks, that's fine. But the Formula 1 season, 5-week break, obviously with everything happening in the world right now, is a little bit, just off-putting, right? Like you get into this flow of watching races and then you kind of have a huge break. But luckily, IndyCar is still going on and we have the Grand Prix of Long Beach. Now, this is a great racetrack. But before we get into it, let's look at what happened in round 4 of the NTT Indycar Series in 2026. In Alabama, at Barber Motorsports Park, we had Alex Palou reign again. And this was an absolute clinical drive from Alex Palou. He was magnificent, followed by Christian Lundgaard, who arguably could have won the race as well. We'll get a little bit into it because I thought Christian Lundgaard drove a fantastic race. He came through the field. He absolutely smashed everyone out of the park, but he had a troublesome pit stop, which affected his pit exit, and it put him behind Alex Palou by quite a margin, and that was it. That was, he was fighting Graham Rahal and then overtook Graham Rahal, and that's how you kind of just finished P2, but an awesome drive from Christian Lundgaard. But amazing from Christian. I think he's really made that McLaren team his own, and he's really settled in, currently sitting P3 in the IndyCar Championship. So amazing job from Lundgaard, and then obviously Graham Rahal, P3. His first podium in 3 years. What a drive. He was on it from day one, from the practice sessions to qualifying. He qualified P3. Again, awesome job. So when you have teams like Penske, Andretti, and all those guys behind you, right, you have a lot to do, especially given you're in a fairly smaller team in comparison to the Penskes, the Andrettis, right? And I think Graham Rahal did such an amazing job because at the end of the race, he had to hold up David Malukas, who had pushed to pass, who had everything, and it was so tight, and it was just so nice to see Graham back on the podium. And come on, it's just a feel-good story. Everyone loves a nice feel-good story, so why not, right? I think a stunning job from Graham. So yeah, Palou, Lundgaard, Rahal. Crazy thing was that it was a caution-free race. No yellow flags, nothing. Albeit we had a huge shunt in, I think, was it practice 2, Scott McLaughlin, which we will talk about later on in this preview. But nothing, super clean. All drivers were well behaved, which is, good. But let's get into the circuit. Okay, so it's only 10 turns, 90 laps, a lot of relatively long straights, one would argue, but overtaking is pretty difficult in Long Beach. It's just historically been that, right? When we look at historically speaking, from I don't know how long Beach is on the calendar for, I think 40 years or so, it's always been a track position race. Last year in the 2025 race, it was caution free as well. Yeah, so it's weird if we would have another caution free race because Barber in Alabama was caution-free, and then this one, you kind of want to have a little bit of jeopardy in there. But anyway, 2025 was caution-free. Kyle Kirkwood started on pole, led every single lap from pole to the end, and there was this battle between Palou and Kirkwood in the pits, and again, Kirkwood came out, but just, I think, half a second or so. And even in 2024, in the race, it was ultimately decided by Scott Dixon, who won that year, by his fuel-saving strategy rather than just raw pace. So overtaking is substantially hard over here compared to some other circuits, but where you qualify largely dictates where you finish over here, and it's going to be 90 laps, so 177.12 miles is going to be the streets of Long Beach. Obviously, the key overtaking points, turn 2 is a big one. You'll see turn 8. Those are the standard ones. Maybe turn 6 as well. I might be butchering this, but purely from the track layout and what I saw last year in the race, anytime you're on a back straight, going to the corner is a good overtaking opportunity. Pretty interesting. It's a good layout, good street, legendary. I only got into IndyCar in 2021, so I'm learning about this every single year, and it is such a historical circuit, and drivers absolutely adore this circuit. So what happened last year? We know Carl Kirkwood won, but look at that. Again, Alex Palou P2, Christian Lundgaard P3. Qualifying was everything, right? And you had those little battles, right? Alex Palou, Kyle Kirkwood from 1 and 2, they were trying to overcut each other, but Kyle Kirkwood, fair play, kept his medal and finished P1. And Alex Palou, again, super drive. Christian Lundgaard had a crazy race as well. I think he started a little bit further back, but barged his way through. And as I said, again, he's really settled into that McLaren team, and he's doing a phenomenal job. Last year was a great year, and so is this year. And then Felix Rosenqvist finished behind him in P4. Lundgaard and Rosenqvist had a crazy battle where push to pass, where you have 200 seconds of overtake available. I think they used both. They exhausted both at the same time, and then it was pretty much raw dog in it. So pretty awesome stuff from both of them. And then Will Power rounded off the top 5. So Will Power in a Penske last year, not Andretti, was very clinical as well. And I think, we just never know. But again, as I mentioned, it was a clean race. There wasn't anything, no cautions, nothing. On a street course as well. In Barber, a couple of weekends ago in Alabama, it's a proper road course, right? So there's a lot of runoff areas, etc., where you can actually, if you have a bit of a wiggle, you have space. But over here, there was no space because it's a street circuit, and yet everyone kept it clean, and there were some very close calls, people brushing the walls and playing with the margins. But all in all, amazing job from everyone last year to finish. But Kyle Kirkwood, the king of the streets, and he's been on a tear recently, right? And I think for us, it's very important to keep that into perspective. Both Kirkwood, Palou, and Lundgaard are right now. That's exactly how the championship sits right now. I'm looking at it right now. Carl Kirkwood is P1, Palou 2, Lundgaard 3, Malukas 4, Joseph Newgarden in 5. Those are your top 5 in the championship standings. And that's exactly how this finished last year as well in terms of the top 3. But for this weekend, we have a lot of special liveries. And if you know me, I love liveries. I love merchandise, liveries. If you follow me on my social media at Sachin the F1 guy on Instagram and at Sach the F1 guy on X, TikTok, and YouTube, you'll see I create a lot of merch related content and liveries as well. And I love liveries, and do we have a lot. So I want to discuss a few. Let's get right into it. Firstly, we have Alex Palou in his OpenAI Chip Ganassi Racing. I think this looks like a fantastic livery. The black, the blue, it's just beautiful. And I think it's a good breather, a bit of a break from his standard, DHL colors, which I think this year his DHL livery looks beautiful, more yellow. I think last year with the red nose was a little bit odd, shall we say, but again, pretty awesome this year. I think that it's very beautiful. But this livery though, just a simple black and blue, and you have the DHL yellow and red accents on, the wheel, just kind of close to the wheel covers at the back, where it just rounds up over the rear tires. And I think it just looks stunning. He did it last year as well. I can't remember what race, but again, just looks like a stunning livery. And OpenAI is getting involved in IndyCar, just tells you where IndyCar is heading. So IndyCar needs to create these special livery models and bring them to life with these die-cast models. They really, really should, because there are some stunning liveries. Like this one over here, the Scott McLaughlin, the Expel, right? The Expel Chevy. I think it's a stunning looking car. Let me show it to you guys real quick. I think Joseph Newgarden used it at testing or something, but it's this one over here, as you can see. Phenomenal, such a beautiful scheme. And obviously the Penske boys do get their cars made by IXO in terms of die-cast models. But I think we would want to see a lot more coming our way with these beautiful liveries. So the OpenAI one is pretty phenomenal. And then funny, I'm talking about Scott McLaughlin. McLaughlin's getting a new livery as well. He's got the AAA Travel, the blue and white. Classy, very classy. And some of you, if you watched the Alabama Grand Prix qualifying, you would have seen this with the Odyssey battery sponsorship on it, because it was a Frankenstein car. He was supposed to be racing that black and red Odyssey battery car, and it obviously got wrecked during his crash in practice 2. And then they were pretty much, it was a race against time when it came to building a brand new chassis. So they had this guy ready, the Long Beach livery or the tub, and they basically plastered on Odyssey battery on a blue and white car. Apart from the front wing and edges of the front wing, which are blue, they were still red from the Odyssey battery car. But yeah, it was a Frankenstein car. I don't mind a Frankenstein car. It'd be cool if IXO and IndyCar did those as well as models, just a one-off. I don't know. I'd get it, but that would be pretty cool. But yeah, Penske have had a couple of Frankenstein-looking cars now. So it's fascinating to see. But again, given the wrecks they've had, they've still pulled off a decent amount of points this year. They've had fairly decent results. In comparison to last year, of course they have. But again, I think, yeah, beautiful looking car. Again, it's pretty simple. Then we have the Meyershank Racing Boys of Marcus Armstrong and Felix Rosenqvist. Marcus Armstrong with that Remax property car. I think, when I saw that initially, I thought, oh, Pepsi. Or the French flag, I guess. Either one. But I really thought it was a Pepsi car. I was like, whoa, Pepsi's getting involved in IndyCar. That's pretty cool. But it was Remax. And Remax, as you can see, like on the side pod next to Remax, you see a balloon. And that's their colors. And that's what they've sort of displayed on the car from the front wing all the way to the back, the 3 colors. And I like it. I really do. I think it's, adds a bit of pop. And I think kids during the weekend will love that car going on track. They'll be like, oh, Pepsi, whatever. So I think very good branding from Remax as well. And obviously the designing team at Meyershank Racing, I think very, very good job from them. And yeah, I'm just curious to see how this would look on track. And similarly, this is Marcus Armstrong's, and then Felix Rosenqvist. Oh, this is Tom Petty Radio. Oh, wow. The Tom Petty Radio sponsored Felix Rosenqvist's number 60 of the Meyershank Racing. A bit of mouthful that, but the red, the black, the yellow. I know I've put a bit of a filter on it just for, because this is my theme. But you can see it's a beautiful looking car, very aggressive looking as well. And I just like it. I think I have no issues. And Meyershank Racing are known for their such beautiful liveries. The Sirius XM liveries, the blue, blue and white gradient car with the yellow, wingtips and stuff. Ooh, they just know how to make a good livery. So yeah, Felix Rosenqvist as well had a good year. Had a very good, not good year, sorry, a good race last year in Long Beach, finished P4. Could he replicate it? We'll see. And Marcus Armstrong actually also had a pretty decent, he's had a very good start to the season so far this year. And, I think one would argue he's due a race win now, I think. I think he's definitely really, really talented to pull that off as well now. So you have Armstrong, you have Rosenqvist, and boy, then we get into the RLL cars, the Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan cars. And firstly, we have Mick Schumacher, and this is his Liquid Death number 47. Now, Liquid Death, when I first saw it, I was like, what on earth is Liquid Death? And when I had a look at it, it's low calorie beverages, and I had no idea. I had no idea there was going to be that. But yeah, interesting company. They sell everywhere in the US in all the major stores like Walmart, etc. So if anyone has tried Liquid Death beverages, let me know. It's non-alcohol. It's just sparkling water and stuff. But Liquid Death is a very interesting name. And in terms of the livery, I prefer Mick's standard. I think it's, Eve Cycles, the red, black, and yellow one. I'm not too sure about this. For me, I've just never been a huge fan of gold on a car, if I'll be honest with you. So I don't know, like it's too shiny. I don't know. I'll have to see this on track to make a better judgment. I like the Liquid Death logo with the black on the black side pod. I just think they could have gone with a different color with, that engine cover area and into the lower end of the wing and the number as well. I feel like it could have been a different color. But again, if it was liquid gold, sure, makes sense. But Liquid Death, I think you'll see what I mean with the black and white in just a second, right? But before that, let's look at Graham Rahal, who also has a new sponsor in One Cure. One Cure, I think they do, a lot of cancer research for animals, and they believe in, cancer research shouldn't just be done for humans, but for all species. So, think of your pets, your dogs. So I think it's a great initiative, and Graham Rahal will be rocking this car. So awesome initiative. Love it. In terms of the livery, I think it's okay. Again, it's a pretty base template. You look at Mix again, you can see that this is RLL's base template with the side pods are going to be one thing, the engine cover is going to be one thing, and then the side pod and the front nose are going to be the same color. So it's okay. White, I don't know. I'm partially colorblind, so I think it's green, but yeah, it's all right. It's not too bad. I'm pretty indifferent, to be fair. No issues. But the black and white, what I'm talking about is this. Louis Foster's. Look at that. The Desunda, I think, is the tequila brand. Organic tequila. But I think that is how you do a livery, right? Just the way they've integrated the logo into sort of you see the diagonal cut from the top view. I'd love to see this on track again, but I think this is how you do a good livery. The other two are also nice, but I think this is awesome. Yeah, stunning stuff. So we've had such a big selection of special liveries, and that's what I like about IndyCar. Well, the whole car changes. It's not like a section of the cars. The whole thing's changing. Even sponsors change race to race. So that's Louis Foster. Still very good livery. And then to round off, we have the Ed Carpenter racing cars, the ECR cars of Alex Rossi and Christian Rasmussen. Alex Rossi's primary sponsor is Java House, and Christian Rasmussen's is Splendor, but for this weekend they have Liquid Science involved, which is interesting. And they're light blue, like the baby blue. It definitely pops, but it's very weird looking because you have that gray accent with the black for Alex Rossi on the top, and you add that baby blue. It kind of just throws the palette off a little bit from what I feel. And obviously for the Rasmussen one, that just pops. I feel like that'll attract a lot of kids because it's yellow, it's baby blue, and I think it's nice. But again, it's too colorful. Do you know what I mean? I like him. Don't get me wrong, but they're standard in-season liveries of the ECR cars. Last year's were wow. I really, really, really enjoyed them. This year's, it's good. I'm just not too sure if it's, I don't know. I think they changed a few things of how it all sort of comes together at the front end of the car. They've changed a little bit of that, how the colors sort of blend into each other. But for this weekend, Liquid Science, I think it's a standoff livery. I don't mind it. It's okay. But again, it's cool to see all these liveries taking, shape and whatnot. But Alex Pillo's OpenAI car, I think for me, that's the one. And then I would probably say Felix Rosenquist and Marcus Armstrong's. Those are some very cool liveries. But I think the Alex Pillow OpenAI one is just, I don't know, a completely black IndyCar with blue wings. I don't know. It kind of gives me Alpine testing vibes to an extent, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I think I've waffled enough for the liveries. Let's get into predictions for this weekend. All right, then, the Grand Prix of Long Beach predictions. Now, what I like to do usually is I like to predict the following. So, podium, you have 1, 2, 3. Then I like to do the Ripper driver of the weekend, aka Ripper for bloke, right? So, Ripper driver of the weekend, Ripper team of the weekend, and then a shocking driver of the weekend and a shocking team of the weekend. That's how I kind of do it. So my podium predictions for this weekend, I thought initially, it's very hard to go past what happened last year, and given the trend we are seeing this year, I can't ignore it, but I've tried to add in a bit of a twist, maybe. I've gone for Kyle Kirkwood to win, followed by Alex Palou. Whoa, huge surprise, I know. And then Will Power to round off the podium position. So this is exactly what we saw in Arlington. But I feel like right now it's just so hard. I sat and thought, who could dethrone Kyle Kirkwood and Palou right now? And I don't think there's anyone there. Newgarden has showed flashes of speed. Power's shown flashes of speed. So is Scott McLaughlin. But there's no one I don't think there's anyone who's operating at that level right now. Marcus Ericsson, yes, did get pulled in Arlington, but, finished P4 in the race because these guys were just so much on it in race. And Will Power, I think is a very strong contender for a podium, but so is Christian Lundgaard. So it's a very, very difficult thing to define, and it all depends on where they finish. The reason I've gone with Will Power in P3 and not Christian Lundgaard is because qualifying, the McLarens haven't been the best in qualifying, but the Andretti's are there if you put it all together. And it's a street circuit, right? Long Beach, which means that if you are one of the Andretti's, the three Andretti's, it may very well be, all three Andretti's in the Fast Six. So that is a very tough thing to sort of predict, but I think this is what the podium is going to look like. I think this is a very predictable podium, but at the same time, if you think otherwise, chuck it in the comments below and let me know. I'd love to discuss that. Now, for driver of the weekend, or the Ripper driver of the weekend and Ripper team of the weekend, I have gone for Marcus Armstrong and the Andretti team. Marcus Armstrong. Why? Marcus Armstrong has had a significant rise recently, right? He's putting in these beautiful performances, obviously affiliated with Chip Ganassi. Chip really rates him highly as well. And when you look at what's happening in Chip Ganassi right now, when you look at Scott Dixon and stuff, they're struggling. So Alex Palou right now is P2 in the championship. Marcus Armstrong, the Meyer Shank Racing driver, is P9. And Scott Dixon is P10. And Kiffin Simpson is P18 in the championship. So he's already doing much better than the other Chip Ganassi drivers apart from Alex Palou. And again, I just feel like he has at least a couple of podiums in him this year, and even, maybe a race win. And I really hope he does, because I rate the guy. I rate his driving style. I've been following him since Formula 2 when he was a Ferrari driver academy, and I think he's got so much to offer. And it's just about a matter of time. He's been consistent, and that's one of the things he mentioned at the start of the year. He wants to keep being consistent. So yeah, Marcus Armstrong being the driver of the weekend for me. And team of the weekend, if I'm putting, Kyle Kirkwood and Will Power in the podium positions, I think Andretti, king of street circuits, it has to be Andretti. From at least right now, things could go wrong. In Arlington, it was disastrous for them when it came to pit stops and stuff. So you never know. They might find themselves right in the middle of the midfield come Sunday. So you just never know. But Andretti, I would think. And then when we go to the shocker driver and shocker team of the weekend, I have gone for Kiffin Simpson and Team Penske. Kiffin Simpson, the reason I've gone for Kiffin is he's not had the easiest start to the year. There's a lot happening, which I think he's not able to acclimatize as quickly, right? When you look at his teammates, Scott Dixon currently sitting in P10. He's having a weird season himself, but at least he's shown glimpses. In St. Pete, Scott Dixon's tire went off through no fault of his own. Otherwise, he would have been in a good position to finish the race, right? Arguably, he could have fought for the podium, potentially. You never know, St. Pete. And then, since then, things happened. Then he had a weird crash and whatnot. But Scott Dixon's still showing flashes of who he really is, right? Then we have Alex Palou. Alex Palou is just doing Alex Palou things, which is great. So Palou is number 2 in the championship right now. Scott Dixon right now is P10, but Kiffin Simpson is P18. And when you think of watching the races, there's nowhere been like, oh, Kiffin Simpson made a crazy move, or he's had a great race. We've just never heard it. So there's something happening with Simpson, which I don't think it's great. And then when you look at Marcus Armstrong, as I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, that Marcus Armstrong, albeit in Meyershank Racing, so they have a technical collaboration, right? Meyershank Racing and Chip Ganassi Racing. So they have access to all data between the guys. So Marcus Armstrong can see Simpson's, Dixon's, Pallot's data, and then those three can see Felix Rosenquist's and Marcus Armstrong's data. So if Kyffin Simpson has 4 other people to look at and still be right at the back end of it, something is not clicking. So yeah, I don't think he's going to have a great race this weekend as well. I hope he does. I don't mean ill on anyone, but it's just not looking great, is it? And then shocking team of the weekend, I've gone for Penske, despite their decent start to the year, one might argue. But the reason is because I think the statistics of Team Penske in Long Beach are pretty blunt, right? Just 2 wins across 13 IndyCar era Long Beach races and the lowest of any top tier outfit, Andretti have more. And the 3-car 2026 lineup just looked strong on ovals and on mixed surfaces, but they have not cracked that front on, pure street circuits. Newgarden benefited from a caution and fresh tires to win at Phoenix, and Phoenix is an oval, which is a very different track. And, where strategy and windows are so much tighter and track position is almost everything. So I think without a safety car reshuffle, Penske could, easily find all 3 cars buried in the midfield, on Sunday afternoon. So again, it's not been the biggest strength in Long Beach, which is why I've said they're going to have a shocker. And given the offs they've had with Scott McLaughlin and, Newgarden as well in St. Pete, and just a bit weird, right? Like, you don't expect that happening at Penske. So I feel like they're on this rebuild. I think they'll have a great season, but I just don't think they'll have a great weekend at Long Beach this weekend. So there you have it. Those are my predictions for this weekend and the preview of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you love Long Beach? Do you not? Is this a track you look forward to watching on TV, given it's a hard, track to overtake and stuff? And also let me know, what's your podium prediction, right? Who's your top 3? Who's your Ripper driver of the weekend? Who's your Ripper team of the weekend? And the shocking driver of the weekend and the shocking team of the weekend? Chuck it in the comments below, and I will be going live to stream the qualifying and the race on Saturday and Sunday. So do join. We'll just have a bit of fun, online, watching it live together. There's been a lot of intake for the IndyCar races in comparison to the Formula One races that I've noticed. So yeah, if people love it, I just want to provide. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Saturday and then Sunday. But until then, just have a great rest of your week. And it's midweek already. And we're going to see cars on track, I think 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So for first practice session. So can't wait, and I appreciate you all watching. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Ciao.